Hello and welcome everybody to another StarCraft 2 cast by Glitch. Today, I'm going to be casting for you a best of 5 from the ASUS Republic of Gamers tournament that happened this past weekend. Unfortunately, I was super busy this past weekend, so I was not able to watch any of this tournament. I heard all about it and I was getting so excited. They talked about it on State of the Game and I was really excited for this whole tournament, but unfortunately, my weekend was completely packed with all kinds of exciting activities. It is my birthday next week, so I got taken out for all kinds of wonderful activities, such as massages and parasailing and all kinds of awesome stuff. So it was really, really fun, but I didn't get to watch this tournament. So I just downloaded all the replays, and I'm going to be watching these replays, and today is going to be just a little bit of a selfish best of 5 also, because I've been putting a lot of effort lately into studying ZVP. Really been looking into ZVP lately because my own personal ZVP has been doing pretty bad lately, so I've really been wanting to watch a lot of good ZVP lately, and so this one is promising to be some very good ZVP here. So gonna be very excited to watch both of these players play. And speaking of those characters, spawning here in the top right position as the blue Zerg, playing from Team Evil Geniuses, we have EGIdrA. Spawning here in the lower right position of Tal'Darim altar as the red Protoss, we have WhiteRa. WhiteRa is of course the Ukrainian Protoss known for his special tactics, and it looks like in this particular game he's going to be going for that fast forge, that forge fast expand that is pretty common on this map. Not too unusual to go for that in this matchup on this map, just because it's not too bad of a choke to be able to defend here. And EGIdrA, interestingly enough, almost always does this now. He almost always goes pool first, just because it's the safer opening, and so many times Protosses are getting so good about putting down this pylon like almost every time, and they almost always let it complete these days, so you almost have to throw down your spawning pool first anyway. So a lot of times, a lot of Zerg players are now just trying to develop builds that are like, okay, here's my build for just getting down a pool when I want to get it down, rather than having to operate on your opponent's terms. You know what, just going to get that pool down, just going to have some units out early, and maybe try to put some pressure on my opponent. And that's exactly what I think EGIdrA is going to be trying to do here, as he did produce 6 Zerglings. Normally, if he just wanted to take out this pylon, he would only produce 2 or 4 Zerglings, but as we can see, he did produce 6. So he's going to try to put some pressure on his opponent. As you can see, 2 of them are going to stick around to try to take out this pylon for this drone, but looks like, yeah, that probe is going to be shoved away here. And EGIdRA's going to be able to throw down that hatchery here fairly soon. In the meantime, he's getting up lots and lots more drones. In the meantime, in camp WhiteRa, we do just now have 2 gateways going up and a cannon finishing. Nice little wall off there by WhiteRa. Prevents those Zerglings from getting in, but not quite long enough, as 3 Zerglings do manage to get into the main. They are going to now move into the main and start to do a little bit of probe harass here, and there's not a whole lot WhiteRa can do about it. As you can see right now, he's only got 1 gateway up, and he's got his Nexus coming up right now, so he has nothing to be able to defend down here except these probes. So EGIdRA going to try to be very annoying here, try to deal as much damage as he can. Moving in with some of these Zerglings, kind of poking in and out here, and as you can see on the production tab, he is strictly teching. He's not committing too heavily to this attack. He got into the base. A lot of players, though, once they get into a base, they'll be like, oh, you know what, I need to try to flood with Zerglings, try to deal as much damage as I can. But no, EGIdrA is going to try to take advantage of the advantage that he got by just doing a little bit of harassment with these Zerglings, because he knows his opponent can't really do anything to stop these 3 Zerglings, but he's not going to overcommit to this aggression, just going to continue to be very annoying and very resourceful with just these 3 Zerglings, while back home, he's just continuing to get lots and lots of drones. He's now getting up his gas on his first expansion, or rather at his main, at his expansion, he is starting to get up some more drones as well there, and right now EGIdRA is just completely free to drone up, and as you can see, 25 harvesters to 23, EGIdRA is just focusing all of his larvae into getting those workers up and saturated on that natural expansion. WhiteRa still trying to get saturated at the natural. Not a whole lot going down there, though. And EGIdRA just continuing to keep these lings alive and be very annoying. There is 1 zealot out here on the field for WhiteRa. 2nd zealot is on the way, but these zealots are just really slow and cannot quite catch up to those Zerglings. Those Zerglings picking off a few extra probe kills so far. Only 2 workers killed here for EGIdRA, but notice he's preventing mining time. He keeps forcing probes off the mineral line, which really cuts down on his production here after a while. And there we go, another probe does go down here for EGIdRA, so nice control with these 2 Zerglings. I mean, if you think about it, this is only, what is this? This is like 100, is it even 100 minerals? No, it's like, I don't even know, it's like 75 75 minerals, 3 zerglings, but they're doing so much damage here, and that's only 75 resources invested, so that's definitely worth it there for EGIdrA. I think he's definitely forced his opponent to lose a lot more than that. As you can see, he's now so well saturated. We do now have layer tech on the way here for EGIdrA. He has thrown down his other gas geyser, is getting that zergling speed as well, and did manage to get that third gas geyser up, and there we go. Now he is going to be taking his fourth. Main not quite saturated in the minerals right now, focusing very heavily on gas, and we're not seeing any other tech come up yet. We haven't seen EGIdrA use any of this gas yet. What's definitely popular for EGIdrA to do in this matchup is he definitely enjoys getting out a lot of Mutalisks. EGIdrA is definitely a Mutalisking player, enjoys the severe amount of map control that you get from having them out on the map. As you can see, the Zergling speed just kicked in. He's going to be able to pick that Zealot off for free. Looks like that Zealot isn't going to be able to do any more, and now it's just going to be poking back in at the front again to try to see what's going on at the front. But as you can see, another gateway gets thrown down here by WhiteRa, and he's going to deny those Zerglings from dealing any more damage. Now these Zerglings just going to be out in the middle of the map. EGIdRA's going to stick them on those Xel'Naga watchtowers, gain some map control. Absolutely brilliant play there, or just smart play by EGIdRA. Maintaining that map control, always want to do that when you have those Zerglings. Zerglings are definitely good for maintaining that map control, and you want to use that advantage. Well, the last thing you want to do is have Zerglings just sitting right here in your natural. One thing lower level players will do is they'll create a lot of Zerglings and they'll just have them sitting here. Put them out on the map. Put them out on the map so that they can scout and so that people can see them, or so that you can see people that move around the map. You can see unit positioning, decide based on that when to drone and when to get up more units. Now we do see a couple of spine crawlers here going down for EGIdRA because he really doesn't have that much scouting information right now. He hasn't seen everything his opponent's gone for, but he did manage to get one Overseer in there and managed to see that Stargate did go down here for WhiteRa. So he does know that this Stargate tech is going to be on the way. Do we see any kind of a response yet? We do have a Spire coming up here for EGIdRA, and the Evolution Chamber is down as well, but no Spore Crawlers going down quite yet. Looks like he is getting some more spines at the front because he wants to be able to defend against any kind of early Warp Gate tech. And there's that Void Ray just now poking into the natural expansion, and EGIdRA's going to start to take it down. Looks like that Void Ray is going to be denied from doing too much damage here. Overlord positioning could be a little better by EGIdRA. I would like to see a couple of Overlords out here. I would really, really like that if he had some Overlords out here scouting this position. Does he have full sight into everything his opponent has? I don't think he does yet. Did he see? No, he knows that some Warp Gates were going down here, but he doesn't fully know what his opponent is committing to yet. But it's a pretty safe bet at this point. If he's got a Stargate up, it's a pretty good bet that he's going to go for something Warp Gate heavy, just because he spent a lot of resources in getting that Stargate tech up early. He's going to need to commit to something a little different. Needs to be able to have something to defend with back at his base, and Warp Gate units are definitely the units of choice for that. Now EGIdRA does finally have Mutalisks out on the field. They are moving across the map. EGIdRA is now taking his 4th and 5th bases here, or 3rd and 4th bases rather, and now the Spire is now up, researching that +1 flyer attacks somewhere around here. There's that Evolution Chamber researching that melee attack level 1, and here come the Mutalisks into the natural expansion, and they are going to start to focus down a few probes. So far 9 workers killed here for EGIdRA. EGIdRA being very annoying with these Mutalisks. EGIdRA's control with Mutalisks is absolutely incredible. Love the control of Mutalisks from EGIdRA. If one thing that I can say about EGIdRA, I mean, I often say that EGIdRA often overcommits to Mutalisks. Like, he'll create like 40 Mutalisks sometimes in a game, which is a little excessive in my opinion, but one thing that EGIdRA does do well with those Mutalisks is once he has them up, his control is immaculate. You'll watch him just dance back and forth and do so much damage just barely out of the range of cannons or turrets and things, and he's just so good with his control. And as you can see, look at this. He's committing all of his resources into getting Mutalisks. So what are Mutalisks bad at? Direct confrontations. So he needs to have something to defend against any kind of big Warp Gate pushes here from WhiteRa, and one way to be absolutely safe about big Warp Gate pushes is to just get up a lot of Spine Crawlers, because in the early game, Spine Crawlers are really, really, really good against Warp Gate units. So absolutely love that from EGIdRA. EGIdRA now getting that 3rd expansion up and running, continuing to get lots and lots of drones. If we check out the Harvester count right now, that's not the Harvester count. There we go, 68 Harvesters to 42. WhiteRa still hasn't taken a 3rd base. Looks like he's going to try to go for some kind of big 2-base play here until he gets that big army and then expand to his 3rd. But look at the Mutalisk count here for EGIdRA, as that is starting to get really, really high. And look at EGIdRA starting to take out so many workers right now. 14 workers killed so far for EGIdRA, putting him even further ahead in the economy. And now he's going to be pulling back. Notice he only pulls them back when he needs to macro a little bit. He pulls them back to be safe, and then he always pulls them back to positions towards the center of the map. He always wants to pull back to the center. Why? Because he has the mobility to go wherever he wants. Once he comes to the center of the map, he can cut down to the side to check for expansions. He can cut right to their base, try to deal damage to this expansion. Always pulls back to the center of the map, wants central map control. Now, the Mutalisk count, as I said, is getting ridiculously high. He has 26 Mutalisks currently out on the field. More are on the production tab. +2 flyer attacks is also on the way, so EGIdrA here being very annoying, and there we go. There's that beautiful Mutalisk control. A lot of times, a lot of newer players will lose right away as soon as they get a few Phoenixes on the field, or Zerg players will lose once a Protoss opponent gets a lot of Phoenixes on the field, but EGIdrA here continues to just dance in with those Mutalisks, starts to pull back, and as soon as he sees those Phoenixes give chase, then he just turns around immediately, does a quick snipe, does a lot of damage to him, and he's able to handle them quite well. Now, WhiteRa is going to be pushing up into the main expansion, but as you can see, EGIdrA is just so well prepared with so many spine crawlers right now while he continues to harass in the main, taking out some warp gates, taking out all the pylons, powering those warp gates, completely destroying the timing of this attack. This is going to be so difficult for WhiteRa to maintain. He does not even have a forward pylon at this point to be able to continue to do damage. WhiteRa is going to start to poke into this main, or this third expansion rather, and he's going to start to pick off this hatchery. I don't even think he knows that this fourth base is up quite yet. He's going to feel pretty good about this, knowing that his opponent is only on 2 bases. Oh, nope, there he goes. Now he's discovering that his opponent does have this other base up, and he's splitting up his forces just a little bit there. Now moving into that fourth expansion, going to be able to pick this off. This is much less defended than, of course, this area is, so he's just going to be pulling back. EGIdrA now being forced to pull back all those Mutalisks here after doing so much damage so far. 28 workers killed for EGIdrA. He's in such a good spot. 167 food to 57 right now, and he is just going to destroy that attack there from WhiteRa, and that, I think, yep, is going to be GG. WhiteRa, GG's out of that game, meaning EGIdrA takes game 1. Did I even mention that this is a best of 5? I might have missed that little point. This is going to be a best of 5, and EGIdRA's going to be taking game 1, so we're going to be jumping into game 2 here in just a moment, so stick with me, guys. Game 2 of EGIdRA versus WhiteRa in a moment.